Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamatsyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Hari Om, everybody. We are now, the Guru is answering the question, what is bondage? Ko bandaha. And we saw in verse, we saw what exactly bondage was, starting from 137. 137 to 142. We saw exactly what bondage was. The bottom line for bondage is considering not self to be the self. That is it. Considering something else which I'm not to be me. Thinking, having a sense of I in the body, because I is not the body. Body is not self. But to think of the self as the body, mind, intellect is bondage. So we've seen bondage in detail, and we saw also Bhagwan telling us that this bondage is due to the two powers of Maya. One is veiling, brought about by Tamas, and the other one is projection, brought about by Rajas. And these veilings persecute us endlessly. And why is it endless? And why is it persecution? Why can't I say that I see a garland and I'm happy? But both happy and sad are making us run towards and away, and this running is causing vasanas, causing an increase in vasanas, which is then becoming a blueprint for our future birth. And that's why what is persecution is endless means the cycle of birth and death is endless. The cycle of samsara is endless. And samsara being the realm of change, in the realm of change, there will always be sorrow. Because even though for some time you will feel happy, it will go away and sorrow will come. Because sorrow and joy and sorrow are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have just one without the other. Just like you cannot have only light all the time, and neither is there darkness all the time. So same way, there is joy and sorrow at all. So as long as we remain in this samsara, this joy and sorrow will remain. You can get rid of darkness, reaching the sun. You can get rid of sansar, reaching the self. And if you get rid of sansar, then joy and sorrow, you will transcend both joy and sorrow. But that is what the bondage is. And it begins with the thought, which is only a thought, that I am this body, mind, intellect. Okay? And so we saw that in detail. And now we are in the topic of bondage in action. Here Bhagwan gives a very, very beautiful metaphor. Originally, the metaphor is from Kathopanishad, also taken in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. And now Bhagavan Shankaracharya also takes it here. But it describes very well how this bondage manifests. How does that bondage, how does that thought that I am the body, mind, intellect, how does it lead to further births is now like explained step by step here. Bijam sauspriti bhumijasya tutamo dehatmadhirankurau raga pallavambu karma tu vapuhu skandho savashakikaha agranindriya sanhatischa vishaya pushpani dukkham phalam Nana karma samudbhavam bahuvidham bhoktatra jiva khagaha. Ignorance is the seed for the tree of sansar. Body identification is the sprout. Desires are its tender leaves. Work is its water. The body is its trunk. The pranas are its branches. The sense organs are its twigs. The sense objects are its flowers. Different miseries born out of the varieties of actions are the fruits. And the individual jiva is the bird perched upon it. This metaphor of the two birds also appears in Mundakopanishad. If you've seen even the book has on the cover a tree with two birds sitting there. But anyway, let's see how a tree, I'm sure most of you are gardeners, so you know how the tree manifests. So what you do is first you take a seed and then you plant it in the soil. And then you give fertilizer, water, sunlight, you provide to that seed, which then germinates. And when it germinates, there is just a very little tiny delicate sprout, which you actually protect because, you know, if some animal comes and eats it away or something, so you actually protect. And that sprout comes up with first two leaves. And then what you do is you provide more fertilizer, more water, more sunlight to that sprout. You protect it, you give it a little fence, and then that sprout grows and there is a stronger trunk, and then there are more branches, and those branches have got more leaves, and then the leaves have got flowers. They give flowers, not the leaves but the tree itself, because you're constantly watering the roots, right? You're nourishing the roots. So all this happens, and then the flowers give rise to the fruit, and the fruit has a seed in it, which again when planted will create another tree. Simple enough? This is simple. Now here, let us see what Bhagwan is saying, how he applies this metaphor to our life. So in our life, what is the seed of sansar? This seed is the cause, right? Cause of the tree is that little seed that you planted in the soil. So in our case, the seed is the ignorance. And that ignorance, he already said. What is ignorance? See, we think that, oh, I know so many things. I'm an expert in my field. That is not what we are talking about in Vedanta. In Vedantic parlance, ignorance is of who I really am. So I am ignorant of the fact that I am the true self, the pure consciousness, the Purusha, Satchitananda, the principle. And now I have taken myself to be the not self. The original bondage is what? Thinking that I am the body, mind, intellect. So this seed of ignorance gives rise to the sprout. See, body identification is the sprout. So because I am ignorant of my true self, I consider myself to be the body. Okay. I have explained all this, but now this is in the form of metaphor. Bhagwan is explaining again. So please listen carefully. So seed is ignorance, and from the seed comes a sprout, and the sprout, what is the thought, what is the projection that ignorance? I told you there is tamas, which is ignorance, and then there is projection, which is rajas. So from that ignorance arises a sprout, which is my identification with my body, mind, intellect. Okay. Now, desires are its tender leaves. So in the sprout, first I told you come two leaves, two tiny, very little leaves. Why are these desires? Because why two leaves? One is likes, one is dislikes. The minute I identify with my body, that's the first thing that comes. I like this and I don't like this. That's why the two leaves. See how beautiful this is, the metaphor. So then these two leaves, work is its water. Now what happened was, these two leaves came about. Okay, seed is the ignorance. The sprout is the identification with the body. Because of identification, there is like and dislike. Because I am the body. Now the body likes this color, this sound, or this taste, or this smell, or doesn't like this, this, and this. And then because of those likes and dislikes, what am I doing? I am then running. I'm running towards that which I like, and I'm running away from that which I don't like, which I dislike. Means I'm trying to avoid it. I'm trying to get something which I like and I'm trying to avoid. So that's why it is said, work is its water. Means water is what does the water do to the sprout? It nourishes it. Na? I told you. First you put the seed, then sprout, you're putting water, you're putting fertilizer. So because of this likes and dislikes, and because I have this like and dislike, I work towards fulfilling. Running is what? Running is a verb. Running is work. Right? Running means running towards it means not physically running, but I am going to do action to get that thing which I like, and I'm going to do action to avoid that thing which I don't like. That's why work becomes its water. So now with this work, because of the desire, there is work. This is the genesis of karma also. Desire, and then nobody, even in a manda buddhi in Sanskrit, there's a saying, a manda buddhi means one who is of dull intellect also will not work unless there is some goal in mind. So some desire has to be there to work. Now, nobody just works for the sake of it. So that's why this work is its water means this constant action that I'm doing to fulfill my likes and dislikes. Fulfill my dislike means what? Means avoiding dislike, going, becomes its nourishment. Then what is happening is, now the sprout is becoming into a strong trunk because I'm putting water, right? Body is its trunk. Now this whole body has now come up. There were only two likes and dislikes. This body is there. It's becoming stronger and stronger. Means body is becoming stronger means what? Means my identification that the body is becoming stronger and stronger. Because I'm working towards what I like, I get it. Now I want more. So I'm strengthening my identification with the body, right? If I avoid something, if I'm successful in avoiding something, I will do even more things to avoid other things which I dislike. So that way I am nourishing this body. Pranas are its branches. So the pranas are keeping the body alive. All the senses and all the body, the physiological functions of the body are controlled by the pranas. We have seen that, the 5 pranas, and then there are 49 upa pranas. That's a different matter. But the 5 pranas are the main pranas which are actually controlling all the physiological functions of the body. Everybody remembers prana, apana, vyana, samana, udana, 5 pranas. The sense organs are at twigs. So the branch is there, and then the branch has twigs, little twigs, right? So the sense organs are its twigs, and the sense objects are the flowers. So we have the sense organs, and the flower is the object. That all the sense objects that we like or dislike, which are in the world, are the flowers. What is happening is, what happens with the flower? The flower gets pollinated, and then there is a fruit. There is a fruit from the flower, right? So these flowers, which are the objects in the world, they make us act, right? That's what I think, na? This is the object that I like, so I'm going to work towards that object. This is the object that I don't like, so I'm going to run away, or I'm going to try to avoid that object. So the work that we do, action that we do, is because of these objects, because my sense organs like some objects and dislike other objects. That's why it is the flower, and flower gives rise to fruit. So when I act for things that I like and also act to avoid things that I don't like, that action then is giving rise to a fruit, because that is the law of karma. Every law of gravity, you throw something up in the air, it is going to come down. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you are, rich, poor, educated, not educated, whether you know the law of gravity or not. You throw something up in the air, it is going to come down. And no matter where you are on the earth, same way, same way. Because I'm doing action to fulfill my likes and dislikes. Okay, so there is a doership involved. I like this, so I will do this. I do not like that, so I will not do that. Later on in Bhagavad Gita, we will see that even when I say I will not do something which I'm supposed to do, it is considered as an action and it creates a vasana. So the fruit of that action comes, and what is inside the fruit? Seed. And what is the seed for us? It is the seed for the next birth. That is the seed for the next birth. And this is how that persecution becomes endless. This is the manifestation of bondage. Where did it start? Started with tamas. Because I'm ignorant of who I really am, I project that I am the body. Ignorance is the seed. Identification with the body happens, and then this is the sprout, identification. And then the sprout has likes and dislikes, 2 leaves. It has likes and dislikes, because basically it boils down to like and dislike. And then I go on watering this sprout with what? With actions. Why? Because I have likes and dislikes. That's why so many times I've told you that likes and dislikes have to be toned down. Very essential that we tone down our likes and dislikes. So if something that we like I don't get, it's okay. That's how it should be. It's okay. I liked it, I wanted it, but I didn't get it. It's okay. What I didn't like came to me. It's okay. I accept. We don't do that. We don't say it is okay. When I get what I like, I am in 6s and 7s, phoning 10 people. This is what I got. This is what I got. Jumping up and down. When I get what I don't like, I'm totally depressed. That is what is creating the groove. If I say I'm okay with this, the groove is not created. So Pushpani, okay, now one thing here he says is Pushpani Dukkham Phalam. The phalam is of Dukkha only. Now this is where people will have a problem. They'll say, why should it be? Like I said, why are you saying that there is a snake and I'm frightened? Why don't you say that there is a garland and I'm happy? That's where people, because there are few people who are maybe very happy. So Pushpani, why not Sukha Dukkha Phalam? Why did Bhagwan not say, okay, the fruits could be Sukha and the fruits could be Dukkha? Bhagwan says this is Dukkha only, because the Dukkha and Sukha are 2 sides of the same coin. That's why Bhagwan only uses Dukkha, because he says, okay, you think you got Sukha. What happens is, when we get when do we get Sukha or joy? When I get the thing which I like. And what does that bring with it? What do you think that brings with it? That brings fear with it. I got this, what if I lose it? Attachment. There is attachment. So therefore, I think I got happiness, but actually right behind happiness, the sorrow is following. Because then there is fear. That's why Bhagwan advises Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham. What you don't have, you leave it to me. You leave it to me. I will fulfill it. If you deserve it, I will give it to you. And what you have, I will only protect. So you don't worry about it. That is the point there, that you don't worry. But what we do, we have no faith in Bhagwan. We have no faith in Bhagwan, right? I will do action and I will get it. Where is Bhagwan there? There is no Bhagwan. And when I do it with that sort of an attitude that I am capable of doing action and getting the thing that I like, it will definitely be followed by worry. On the other hand, if you say, okay, Bhagwan, you you take care of this. I want this. I tell you, you take care of this. He will take care of him. If he takes and if he gives us, then suppose if it goes away, because it can go away still. You say, okay, Bhagwan, you gave it to me and you took it. Fine. What is it to me? But what happens is when I say that I did work and I got it, then I lost it. That's why Pushpani Dukkham Phalam. All phalam is dukkha only, because even the happy fruit is giving rise to a vasana, which is creating a blueprint for your next birth. That's why this we have to be very, very careful. Any questions? Is it clear? Is it clear how bondage manifests? This is how it manifests. Okay. All right. Let's move. Ajnanamulo yanatmabandho naisargiko nadiranantairitah janmapyayavyadhijaradi dukkha pravahapatam janayatyamushya. This bondage caused by the not self springs from ignorance and is self-caused. It is described as without beginning and without end. It subjects one to the endless flood of miseries, birth, death, disease, and senility. So the bondage springs from ignorance, that we have seen many times. It is tamas, which gives rise to ignorance, and it is ignorance of our own real self. And that's why Bhagwan in the previous verse called it as the bija, the seed. The seed of bondage is ignorance and is self-caused. Self-caused. So self-caused means when a child is born, did anybody tell him that you're the body? We don't tell babies, you're the body, you're this. We don't tell, but automatically the child starts thinking, I'm the body. And because parents also don't know, they also go with it. That's why it is self-caused. And another reason for self-caused is because you have had this ignorance from before, and you have done actions to fulfill all your desires. So that's why you've gotten birth. So your own birth also is self-caused. You have caused it. Why have we caused it? Because we have done a lot of actions in the past lives. That's why Bhagwan started saying that this human birth is very rare. You got birth now. Now we are telling you that this is why you got birth. Now you try to avoid the next birth, because birth already happened. Whatever is done in the past, we cannot change. Whatever we may have done, good, bad actions. The fact remains that we did actions and we got a birth. Now we are lucky enough to come into this knowledge. So that's why birth is self-caused. That's why there is no point blaming Bhagwan, why you gave me this type of a body, why did you give me, because I only ordained it. I ordained this type of a body, this type of a mind, this type. So birth is also self-caused. Now, okay, there was no control so far. Now you know, now you know. And if you really know, you should try to avoid the next birth. Instead of saying why this happened, why I didn't do this, why I didn't do, because there's no point. What is the point in saying, oh, I should have taken that other route, then I wouldn't have been delayed because there was an accident. But it happened now. Now what is the point in going back into that? Like, why did I do this? Why? There is no point. That's why Gurudev said, past is dead and gone. Okay, so don't think about it. Don't think why did I not come into this path earlier, this, that, all these things. Now you came now. This present moment is in your hands. The future you can change. So at least now. So that's why it's self-caused. It is described as without beginning. Avidya or ignorance, I told you, is beginningless. It's beginningless. And without end, here Bhagavan Shankaracharya says without end, because if you continue in that cycle, it is without end. There is an end to ignorance. Knowledge can put an end. But if you're not even going after knowledge, if you're not even going to try to understand all this, and you think that, okay, I'm living happily, what is wrong with that? Then that ignorance is going to be endless, because ignorance can only be removed by knowledge. but you're not willing to understand, you're not willing to put forth effort, then ignorance is going to remain, and it's going to be without an end, because sansar has no end. Remember that. Sansar has no end at all. Because you might think, oh, at pralaya it will end, at least, you know, then there will be creation again. Then again you will come back. We all will come back, all jivas. That's why it is endless. So it subjects one to endless flood of miseries. Birth. See, what is our impression? Birth, happy, happy, happy. Some child is born. But for that jiva, for the one who is born, this whole, it's a life of misery. Because the minute you have that body and you identify with that body, then disease is going to come, decay is going to come, old age is going to come, senility. You will become senile also. So if you know that you're not the body, and if you're established in that fact, then you'll say, okay, body is becoming senile, what is it to me? Are you able to say that? That is what is empowering ourselves. We can empower ourselves by separating ourselves from the body. But we don't want to. We think our life is going on well. Abhi kyun karne ka? Why? Why think so much? Then it is endless birth and endless death. Okay. Now he's going to go into the, any questions so far?
Jayaji, here when it says it is self-caused, the self is us as jiva, right?
S is small, no?
Yeah.
It is not big S.
Okay.
Their selfie means we only caused it.
Okay.
That's Gurudev's, you know. Otherwise, you would have put capital S.
Capital S, yeah. Okay.
That would be totally wrong, because the self doesn't do anything.
Anything. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question, Jayaji. That this makes it little bit more depressing type, negative, depressing type. This gives
What is it?
like
Sorry?
this idea that this life is nothing gives sadness, it gives depression.
I didn't say life is nothing. Did I say? Did I say anywhere life is nothing?
That life is living, right?
Life is living, but did I say life is nothing or living is nothing?
No, but if we live, that means there will be likes and dislikes.
There will be, yeah, if you're living, there will be life, yeah. And then?
Likes and dislikes, and that is life.
And sadness is life.
That is life. The likes and dislikes is life.
Yeah, likes and dislikes. No, it need not be. Because I think I am the body, there is like and dislike. Because I think I am the body, right? I am this body. So this body likes this color, this taste, this smell, this. It is the mind that likes. I am not the mind. Who likes? Chidabhasa likes. The Jivatma likes. I am not the Jivatma. I am the pure self. Life can be absolutely happy. Gurudev has said, life is a comedy to those who think. Life is a tragedy to those who feel. Because why? You have to transcend the mind and intellect. You transcend the mind and intellect, it's an ocean of bliss. It's an ocean of bliss that we are trying to attain. That we actually are an ocean of bliss. Am I manifesting that bliss? No, I am only manifesting misery. I don't have this, I don't have that. Complain. Okay?
Jayaji,
Yes.
in that verse, before that, you said something about the birds on the tree. I mean, I didn't understand that.
That is, okay. The jiva is like the bird. What does a bird do? Oh, sorry, yeah, I missed that point. And Narayanji, 1 second, yeah. So when you have the tree, then there are birds that come and they peck at the fruits,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So what the bird is compared to the jivatma. See, tree is the body,
Body.
right? And that jivatma is the one that is pecking at the fruits, because the fruit is there. From the like and dislike, there is an action, and from that action, that fruit comes. Now the bird pecks at the fruit, and when you enjoy the fruit or you dislike the fruit, right? That's where Bhagwan tells us that if you are, some fruit is sweet, some fruit is sour.
Mm.
On a tree, there'll be sour fruit, there'll be sweet fruit. So if you get the sweet fruit, thank you, Lord. This fruit was sweet. Sour fruit, okay, Lord, this is what you. We don't do that. We complain.
Okay.
And we
Yeah.
get very, very happy. That is what. And in Mundaka Upanishad, that's what it says. There's one bird which is pecking at the fruit, and the other bird is watching. So there is the difference between Jivatma and Chidabhasa and Chit.
Jivatma.
And Chit.
Okay. So in other words, it is like Jivatma, meaning like it's like a ego who is enjoying the fruit. Yeah. Okay. Now I got it. Okay.
Because it's my ego that has told me that this is what I like, and now go after it. This is what I don't like, so run away from it, right?
So again, there is likes and dislikes, and again, that's whole
same. The whole cycle starts.
cycle.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sorry, Narayanji, did you have a question?
It's a kind of out of context maybe. There are two. There is a video that I've seen where it said it's sanskar. What is the difference between sanskar and samsara?
Oh, sanskar is vasana. Sanskar is impression, vasana. Samsar is samsarati iti samsara. This world is known as samsara. That which changes is sansara. Sanskara is different. Sanskara is impression, which is a vasana.
Thank you.
Okay, so shall we proceed? Nastrairna shastrairnilena vannina chetum na shakyo na cha karma kotibhi viveka vidnyana mahasina vina dhatu prasadena sitena manjuna. Neither by weapons, nor by wind, nor by fire, nor by millions of actions can this bondage be destroyed. By nothing save the wonder sword of knowledge, which comes from discrimination and is sharpened by the purification of the mind and the intellect, can we end this bondage. So now he's telling us, he said earlier on that it is without beginning and without end. But I told you that it is without end if we don't try. If we don't try to do anything about it, then there is no end to it. But we can try. Then if you want to try, the means should be correct. War was there in the Sunday class. I told you, even when you want to understand something, you have to have a correct means of knowledge. If you want to taste something, tongue is the correct means of knowledge, not the eyes or the nose, which is telling you it's smelling very beautiful and it's looking very beautiful. But if you have tasting, you have to taste it, you put it. So now you want to remove bondage. So what is the correct means of removing bondage? He says that by weapons and wind and fire or millions of, all this is falling under action. Weapon is what? There are two types of Bhagwan has given, Astra and Shastra. That also I told you. One Astra which leaves the hand and never comes back, and Shastra is that which stays in your hand. So previously the sword would always stay in our hand, in their hand, in the warrior's hand, and it would never leave. But a spear was one which you threw and then it never came back. So that is the weapons. Means what? Means if you want to kill bondage, you cannot use, you can't cut the bondage. You know why you can't cut it? Because it's in your mind. Body, if it see, if something is attached to my body, God forbid, if I get a tumor or something, it's attached to my body, you can cut it. You can use a weapon and cut that tumor. But this bondage is in the mind. On top of that, the bondage is not even really real. So action cannot remove it. What will remove is knowledge. In Atma Bodh, he has given a very beautiful example. He says that there is a room full of darkness, no matter how much you sweep and sweep for the whole day, that darkness is not going to go away. You just walk in and just light a match, just a small tiny little match, and the darkness will go away immediately. Because that is the light is the correct means to remove darkness. It is not sweeping, it is not, mopping the floor and, let me, blow the darkness away. So you're blowing fans, let the action is not required. Same way, for this bondage to go away, we need a correct understanding. We need discrimination. And what is the discrimination between? Why did the bondage start? It started because I thought myself to be the not self, right? So what should be the discrimination then? What is the not self? What is the self should be the discrimination. Correct? That's where it started. First we said, what is the seed? Seed is ignorance. I'm ignorant of the fact that I am so and so, and I think that I am something else. I think that I'm the body. So that is where the discrimination has to start. And this self and not self, they are mixed up like water and milk. And that's why it becomes extremely difficult to separate. Okay. So this is what he says. Now, what is to be Viveka Vijnana Mahasina Vina? Without Viveka and Vijnana wisdom. So first you discriminate, and then you should have the wisdom to know which side you should go on. Suppose you discriminate. No, I want to be on the side of the not self only. Otherwise, life would be nothing. That's wrong. So you discriminate, and then you, Vijnana, you have wisdom that you are that self. You are not this not self. Okay. Dhatu prasadena sitena manjuna. So this mind and intellect, with a highly purified mind and intellect. And the first basis of purification of mind is reduction of likes and dislikes. Because why? They are those tender leaves. When they're tender, it is easy to break the leaf off. Once it becomes strong, once the like and dislike becomes intense, it's hard to get rid of. Habits, you see that in senior people. They are like so habituated to do things in a particular way. It's very difficult for them to change. That's why the habit must never be formed. They say habits. There's another thing for spiritual habit. What is habit? Habit. So you remove the H, then what remains? A bit remains. Then you remove the A, bit remains. Then you remove the B, it remains. Then you remove the I, T remains. T is the truth. So don't get habituated to anything. What means things change. You must be able to change immediately. That's the whole thing about the gunas. The gunas, if they have to be your servants, you must change. Like I told you, I give you that example. I'm having a nice sattvic day. I'm reading my books and I'm so very happy. And then there is a knock on the door and there's a guest at the door. Immediately, I should be able to come from sattva down into rajas. I should be able to do that. When I can do that, they are my servants. But if I get really upset, why did this person show up now? Now I wanted to read and I was in this, then I'm bound. That is bondage. So that's why this habit formation we must avoid. We can have a discipline. That's the difference between this sattvic. So discipline you have, but if that discipline has to break for some reason, you must not be upset. You must not be upset. Okay. So that, because then what will happen is every time you will not get things which you like. And that's why children also, they must hear the word no sometimes. You go on saying yes, 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 yes. They go out into the world. They're only going to hear no, 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 no. Then they will not be able to deal with it. Because they've only heard yes. They've never heard no. That's why when children, right from there, we have to start. No, this thing you cannot do. That is okay. Same thing with us. So that's why he says this purification of mind, that is the first step. in spirituality, the mind, once it reduces the intensities of likes and dislikes, what happens is the agitation reduces. Like I told you, I like this. Okay. If I get it, okay. If I don't get it, okay. If I have that sort of an attitude, I don't have any agitation. But if I am like constantly day and night, oh, what will happen? What will happen? My life will end if I don't get it. Well, at 18, even I used to feel like that. You know, I thought life was over if I didn't see a movie, which released on Friday. If I didn't see it on Saturday, my life was over. But I was 18. I was 18, right? Now do I think like that? So you mature, and with all of your likes and dislikes, they need to be toned down. That is what will tell you that the mind is pure. And in such a pure mind, the intellect becomes sharp. And then the grasping of the knowledge becomes easy. And this discrimination that has to be done. Because it is not, discrimination is not an action. It is only thinking. And for action, you need a strong body. For thinking, you need a strong mind. And a strong mind is one without impurities, a pure mind. And a mind is pure when there are very less likes and dislikes in it. Okay? All right. Shruti pramanai kamate swadharma nishtha tayaivatma vishuddhirasya vishuddha buddhe paramatma vedanam tenaiva sansara samoola nashaha. He who has deep devotion to the Shrutis and who is established in his swadharma, for these alone contribute to the purity of his mind, and is of pure mind, realizes the Supreme Self. By this knowledge alone is sansar destroyed, root and branch. So sansar is caused by bondage, and bondage is removed by discrimination, by knowledge. Now who will get this knowledge is what Bhagavan is telling us. He who has deep devotion to the Shrutis. So Shruti now here for us even includes Vivekachudamani, Atmabodh, Tattvabodh, all the spiritual texts, not Shruti, because if you only take it as Shruti, then Ore Bapre Abhi Vedas, how can I read? I can't even read Sanskrit. So Shruti should not be taken in a strict sense of Vedas and Upanishads. Atmabodh, Tattvabodh, Vivekachudamani, all these texts, Drigdrish, Vivek, Bhagavad Gita, all this now fall under Shruti, though there are the classifications, but here. So deep devotion, why a deep devotion? See, devotion is of the nature of love. So if I love something, I will stay with it now. If I don't love something, as it is, we are under the influence of likes and dislikes. So therefore deep devotion. So devotion has got two things with it. There is one is love, but one is respect. And then with love and respect comes faith. So it's like, I like them, but every single thing that is said in the Shruti, if I go on doubting, doubt comes from an impure mind. Faith comes from a strong mind, a pure mind. So if you have faith that if Bhagwan Shankaracharya said it, then I have to go no further. And Nisargadatta Maharaj is the classic example, who was very uneducated, but his guru told him, you are that. That's it. That's it. So imagine the depth of his faith in the Guru Vakya. That's why the definition of faith in Tattvabodh is Guru Vakya, faith in the Vakya of the Guru and Shruti. That's why this deep devotion is extremely important. And one who is established in a swadharma. The swadharma word is very important. Here, this dharma means your duty as there is varnashrama dharma that we have. So varna is Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and it's not by birth. I've said this before, I'm saying it again. It is not by birth. It is what your tendencies are. So that is one dharma. And the other dharma is ashrama dharma, which means you're a brahmachari, a grahastha, or a vanaprastha, or a sannyasi. So there are dharmas with that. So a brahmachari Brahmin should be studying Vedas. It's like that. But a brahmachari Kshatriya can study warfare. Should be studying warfare that way. That is his dharma. You understand? Or he may be a brahmachari and he's a Vaishya. then he should be studying business school. He should be in business school, like that. So this is what your swadharma is. You follow even like simple duty. There is a story, you know, which comes to my mind. Is there was this one rishi or saint. He was doing meditation in the forest, and what happened was this one bird came and was chirping. So it disturbed his meditation. So he got really angry and opened his eyes and he looked at the bird, you know, and the bird just got burnt to ashes because of his great tapas. The bird burnt to ashes. Okay, fine. Few days went by and then he was hungry one day. Nobody had brought him any food for whatever reason. So he went into the village, the nearby village. He goes and he knocks on a door, and the lady says, just 1 minute, I'm doing something, I'll come. But he gets really angry and really bangs on the door, you know, because he's very hungry. So he gets angry. So when the lady of the house opens the door, she says, don't think that I am like that bird, that you will open your eyes and I will get destroyed. That he says, how did you know? I did it in the forest few days ago, and now I'm here and in the thing, and you are in your house. So he calms down suddenly because he doesn't understand, like, how come this householder lady who is like just an ordinary householder, how did she know that I angrily looked at the bird and the bird got destroyed? Because she says, don't look at me angrily. I'm not going to get destroyed like the bird got destroyed. So he says, madam, who is your guru? He says, that much wisdom he has. So she says, you go to this village and this is the name of my guru, and you go to him, she says. So he says, no, I have to go to your guru. So he goes, he finds the village, then he asks people, where is this? They say, oh, they say he's a butcher. He's a butcher. Yes, he's a butcher. He's in the meat market, you know, you'll find him in the meat market. So he says, okay, fine. This is the name that lady has given me. So if he's a butcher, he's a butcher. He goes to the meat market. And the man is there, sitting there, and he's selling meat, you know. And in those days, they had that balance, not tarazu, what we call, I don't know in English, you know what it is. So it has two, you know, we know in India how they'll put weight in one and then the other one they'll put veggies. So there is a needle there, right? And that needle, if it tips on this side, then there is more vegetable. Or if it tips on the other side, then he has to put more vegetable. So this man is looking at the needle and making sure that the needle is right in the center when he sells his meat. They ask for 1 kilo, whatever, then so this Mahatma asks him that, how come you have got so much siddhi? Obviously he has siddhi because how did he teach that disciple of his, right? That lady. He says, all I have done is followed my dharma. He says, dharma? What dharma? He says, see, I was born in a butcher family. So my dharma is to do butchery. That's what I do. I kill the animals and I sell. But when I sell, it is my dharma to be very honest. So throughout my life, my eyes have only been on that needle. And I make absolutely sure that that needle doesn't tilt either way. And that much concentration, that is the way that I have followed my dharma since childhood. And that dharma has given me all these powers. Just following his dharma. See, we think, a butcher, you know, low. Immediately we think like that. That's why the story is like that. That's why following of dharma is extremely important. It will come now in chapter 2. This dharma is going to come now next in a couple of weeks, where Bhagwan tells Arjun later on. First is now he's giving all the highest this thing. Then he says, Arjun, okay, you are a Kshatriya, na, just do your dharma. That is enough. That is enough. That's why this thing is there. Who is established in a swadharma. That what he says, what can I do? I got birth in a butcher family. That's fine. We have stories of, that's why we have stories of prostitutes realizing the self. Because they said, we were born in this family. What to do? Every guest that came through the door, I said, it is Lord Shiva. and I'm serving Shiva. Realization. Because all she thought was of Lord Shiva. All she thought was for doing her own job. That is another story, very beautiful story. So there was one, on one side of the road, there was the prostitute, and on the other side was the sannyasi who was doing satsang, and the prostitute was doing her job. They both died at about the same time. She went to heaven, he went to hell. Now this was really weird. So the sannyasi said, look, God, Chitragupta, what have I done? I have done satsang all my life. What has she done? Sold her body all her life. And Chitragupta says, yes, that's absolutely true. Your body did satsang, her body did whatever. But her mind always thought that the guest who walked in was Lord Shiva, and your mind was always in the thought, what is she doing? Your body was in satsang, but your mind was in her house. That's why dharma is very important. Follow, even just follow whatever is your dharma, you follow. If you're a householder, that's fine. If you're a butcher, that's fine. If you're whatever is for you, you can follow. This is what this is meant. For these alone contribute to the purity of his mind. That's why I told you, like this prostitute who constantly, if she thought of Lord Shiva, very pure mind, very single pointed. Let the body do anything. Let the body be impure. Body is always impure anyways. Body can never become pure. What can only become pure is mind. And mind can become pure when you are concentrated on the Lord. Okay. And the butcher, his eyes were only on that needle. So complete single pointedness of mind. Purity. Single pointed. Our mind sees not ekagra at all. It is anekagra. It runs everywhere, na mind. That's a sign of an impure mind. When there are many, many thoughts. And is of pure mind, realizes the Supreme Self. Realizes. By this knowledge alone is sansar destroyed. Because why? I told you, we know darkness, we know light. How do you get rid of darkness? Is to go to the sun. You go to the sun, there will never ever be darkness. You get rid of, end the body. Bhagavan said, Antavanta ime dehaha. End the body, not physically destroying it. But the reality, what is ending something? Ending is ending the reality that I have given to it. That is ending. Like I gave the example. I look at the sun, sky. Oh, lovely blue sky, beautiful. Okay. But in my mind, don't I know that the sky is not real? I'm established in the fact that there is no sky. I'm established in the fact that the sun is not rising. It is not moving. That way, you falsify the body and use the body as your servant to do good. But in your mind, you should know that this is not true. It's not really real. That is antavanti mede. That's the body has ended. Body has ended. That is what it is. So this is realized. That's why by this, and that's, if that knowledge comes, sansar will end. Because there will be no rebirth. There will be no creating of vasanas. That is the only way to end sansar. There is no other way.
Sorry, Jayaji.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you used this couple of 3-4 words. Antamatama. You know what? Which verse? Which?
Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. I just did it last Sunday, I think. It's probably 1920, 21-22, chapter 2.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so he's just giving an example here. I'm going to go prose here because this there is no meter that fits it, or I don't know the meter. Koshehi annam adyehi panchabihi atmana samvruto bhati nija shakti samutpanaihi shaivala patalaihi iva ambu vapi istham. Covered by the 5 sheets, such as the food sheet, which are produced by its own divine power, the self ceases to appear just as the water in a tank ceases to appear due to the collection of moss, which is born out of itself. water. So this new example Bhagwan has brought in, and our most common example that I have always given, and quite a few times it comes, is the clouds covering the sun. That example we have heard. This is exactly the same example. The moss is, we have seen in India, all of us must have seen green moss, you know, covers the water. How is the moss formed? Because of the water, no? So the water itself is the cause for the formation of the moss, and then the moss is hiding the water underneath it. Same way, Bhagwan says that these koshas, and we know the koshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So these 5 sheaths or koshas, they have come from the self. Why? Because there is only one cause. So they have come from the self, and yet as though they hide the self. Now, this we talked about this in last Vivekachudamani class, that nothing can hide the self, but what is happening is because we are identified with the koshas, because I think I am the 5 sheets, the self gets hidden from me. Just as the water itself has produced the moss, now the moss is hiding the water. Same way, these koshas have come from the self, but now the koshas themselves are as though. So moss, you know what, you just remove a little bit and you will see the water. That way, if you end the koshas, not destroying them physically, but in your mind, if they come to an end, you will see the self. That is the discrimination. Today we'll stop here. Are there any questions? We'll go to 150 next time. He's going to go into the discrimination of the 5 sheets, which is the method which was used in Taittiriya Upanishad. The Guru tells his disciple in Taittiriya Upanishad that you are that self, and then the disciple goes and thinks, I think I'm the body, na? Okay, body is the 5 sheets. Okay, so one by one now Bhagwan will tell us why I cannot be the Annamaya Kosha, why I cannot be the Pranamaya, the Manomaya, the Vijnanamaya. So one by one Bhagwan will tell us. Very, very exhaustive examples and explanations. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamas Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yamkshovarahita Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukhabhag Bhavet Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amratam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Hari Om, everybody.